On this week's episode, we are traveling to Columus in the core world, where we will discuss one of the oldest sentient species in the galaxy, Maz Kanata's secret treasure stashes, and medicinal cloning. Whatever that means. On with the show. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Lady Qi'ra's Galactic Adventure, where we traverse the universe in our Correlian Corvette Cruiser, the Vindicator. I am, of course, your host on this excursion, Admiral Qi'ra Vandali of the Alliance to Restore the Republic. On this week's episode, we are continuing our exploration of the interior as we travel to the planet Columus. If you have no questions, comments, or concerns, then make sure to never forget the legacy of one Kanan Jarrus Jedi Knight, that you should always start a conversation with, how you doing, Chewbacca, and that Din Djarin is a fine, fine man. And Jose Pedro Balmaceda Pascal deserves the entirety of this world. This week on Lady Qi'ra's Galactic Adventure. If you've been around the metaphorical block before, you know that we first start out with the undescriptive planetary Disney canon, and then move on to the legend stuff if it's relevant from there. So let's get right into this, right? In canon, Columus is an astronomical object located at M12 in the galactic grid, which was home to the Columi species, which we have literally no canon information on, so we're gonna wait until we pop on our lenses to go over them. Back to Columus for now, though. The pirate queen, Maz Kanata, was said to have hid a portion of her treasure here underground. Her treasures were protected by a cool piece of tech known as an anti-tamper subspace alarm. The functionality of it was quite simple. It would just send a beacon to its owner when or if the contents had been tampered with. And as of the events of Force Awakens, they hadn't been. I don't know if anything has changed. No one really talks about Maz anymore, which makes me very angry. I love Maz Kanata because she's played by Lupita Nyong'o, and she's my idol. Anyways, Maz was actually said to hide 12 of these treasure caches across the galaxy. 12. That's a lot of treasure. She was a queen. Makes sense. I would sell my soul to her. Okay, and that's about everything I have on Columus and canon, so if you could do me a quick favor and pull out those lenses from under your seat, so we can learn a bit more about this place. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's first get into the Columi people, like I mentioned before. The Columi are considered one of the oldest sentient species in the entire galaxy. The Columi are highly evolved bipedal people that are the culmination of big brain energy. Literally. They were hairless and noseless, had large black eyes without lids, and giant brains. Giant brains. As they evolved mentally, their physical bodies began to take a toll. Their arms and legs left boneless and unable to support the weight of their massive noggin. Markiplier is a Columi confirmed, not clickbait. Their bodies thus became these repositories for their organs instead of functional parts of a human, of a body, right? Columi brains, though, contained 4 cerebrums and over 100 individual lobes, each with a designated function. Similarly, their eyes evolved to house more photoreceptors that allowed them to see all wavelengths on the electromagnetic spectrum. Basically, they could hear through their eyes, which is freaky to think about, but honestly pretty cool. And that's all I want to get on them for now. We're going to come back to them later. But I'm letting you all know that there's no information on the Columus system to which these people are located in, even though we know it exists. So there's no system time this week, and it's time to get back to the main attraction, Columus. Is it just me, or is this front bang giving Anthony Padilla when his hair gets all messy in an interview? Another very, very fine man. But he is taken. I think Pedro Pascal is taken too, so I have no chance there. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled program. Columus is a terrestrial planet with extremely low gravity. Interestingly enough, Columus was geologically stable. meaning that the planet had no mountains, no rifts, or other such tectonic functions which resulted in low atmospheric pressure. There was no geologic activity out of, the churning of the core going on here. And without any of those geographic features, Columus was flat and muddy with really weak winds. Because if you think about it, weak is the uneven heating of the surface of a planet, right? So if all of the planet is at the same level, there's no uneven heating. Anyways, the lack of erosion led the rains to settle into the soil because they had nowhere else to go. Nowhere to run off, right? Hence the mud. With the physical description out of the way, it is time for everyone's favorite segment, Dudes and Dudettes. I think it's history time. Let me tell you a quaint little story. Thousands upon thousands of years ago, the Columi evolved from herbivorous lizards. They learned to live in trees to protect themselves from predators, and at some point, their tails, much like humans, were aged out of the evolutionary process, and the Columi began to advance. They mined ores and created new technologies, and at some point in time, which I wrote wrong in my script, don't ask me why, the Columi had developed to the point where they were capable of interstellar travel. They began to travel to other planets in the core worlds, like Coruscant and Duro, but ultimately returned home disappointed, as they believed the other species that they had met to be primitive. They then threw in the metaphorical towel, deciding to isolate themselves to their homeworld. At around 25,000 BBY, that isolation would come to an end, as human scientists on Corellia developed the modern hyperdrive, leading to, about 500 years later, the Battle of Columus, during the first Great Schism of the Jedi Order, which I do plan on covering over on my Patreon because I don't think y'all want to listen to my voice for more than, 15 minutes at a time. Because I certainly don't, and I have to listen to it for 5 straight hours while I edit back to back. Just another example, of the Jedi tossing their internal affairs into places it doesn't need to be. The Sith do it too, just a lot more violently, but a lot of blood was shed during the schisms. Let's not forget that. I don't think most people know what the schism is, but from the phrase schism, I think you can come to a general understanding of what the schism is. There were a lot of them. I think there were 12 or something. We'll cover them at some point. I promise. I promise. But moving forward, a mere, 24,000 years to the Clone Wars period, because nothing apparently could happen in between all of that. The Columus Tourism Board started advertising their low-gravity planet as a way to improve the health of overweight beings, but those claims were heavily criticized by doctors across the galaxy. On a completely unrelated note, Columus was one of 4 planets that were allowed to continue cloning procedures during the Clone Wars, which they did for medicinal purposes. I have a few questions. Why? How? Who, what, where, when, how, why? What is, cloning internal organs for, open heart surgery? Transplants? Or are we talking, whole creatures, beings, people? Let me know. Because the other 3 planets that were involved in this, one of them makes sense. We've talked about them before. One of them is Calm. Calm we talked about in the mega Constantia, Callist, Calm, Ojam, and Volpter episode. Calm is actually really interesting. Their method of cloning is a lot more energy efficient than the Kaminoans. Just go listen to the episode. I think you'll learn a lot from it. We talk about a lot of cool things, that one. There's also Lore, which I've never heard of before, and Arcania, which I've also never heard of before. Maybe we'll cover them. Maybe they're in the colonies or in the Outer Rim or something. We'll see them at some point, okay? We'll see them at some point. Moving forward just a few years to ye olde Empire times, the Columi made a deal with the government to maintain their isolation, but some Columi did leave the planet to join the Alliance to restore the Republic, hey, or to become criminals, which is also cool, I guess. Han Solo was a criminal. Technically, everyone in the Alliance is a criminal in the eyes of the Empire. Technically, they were a terrorist organization. Let's not talk about that. You know, on the note of a planet, a singular planet remaining unharmed from Imperial tampering, I think we're done here. And that's everything that I have for you on Columus in canon and legends. I hope you enjoyed your journey this week and your stay so far aboard the Vindicator. If you have any questions or concerns about your stay, feel free to bring it up with one of our personnel on board via a private message or DM, perhaps on our TikTok accounts at Shadow Collective Rules or at Unidentified Robot, or maybe our Instagram at Lady Qi'ra, or perhaps with a review of our show, ? Continuing the theme, if you have a giant Jar Jar Binks style fruit roll-up tongue, why don't you go and hit that big red button down below the video. If you do that, you'll be automatically subscribed to my channel. And if you hit that accidentally, you know, hit the bell icon that's right next to it, you'll be notified of every single time I upload, which is usually Mondays at about 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want more of me, I don't know why you would, but you can head on over to patreon.com/LadyKira Productions. And for only $5 a month, you can have access to tons of additional content in our exclusive Discord community. All of those usernames and their respective platforms will be listed in the show notes. Next time, we will be journeying to Rendili? Whatever. And whatever core worlds, sorry, that I can cover in apparently 15 minutes or less. This is gonna be like one of the shortest episodes ever. Until next time, my friends, companions, and droids, may the Force be with you all.